Hi, Mr. Lemaster here. Let's start with the question. Use the marking tool to identify sentences that contain description and imagery in paragraph 5. All right, one thing that we need to know is that the answer is in paragraph 5. So we need to scroll through the text and find paragraph 5. We also need to know something about description and imagery. So these two words, description and imagery. Now, description you probably are a little bit more familiar with. Description is about those not academic vocabulary words, but like descriptive words that paint a picture, or you're looking for adjectives, you're looking for strong nouns. Okay, so that's description. Imagery is going to be the words that create pictures almost in our mind, that they're so well explained. These sentences have so much detail that we can almost transport ourselves and see ourselves there, or see what the writer is talking about. A lot of times imagery is created through vivid details, things that are concrete that we may have experience with, or that we could easily see in our minds. So we're not going to separate the two. We're not going to say find description and then find imagery. But what we are going to do is look for those sentences in paragraph 5 that have both description and imagery. So let's take a look at that. So this is paragraph 1, 2, count with me, 3, 4, and then here's number 5. All right. Now this is a lengthy paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot right to where the answer is, and then I'm going to explain why this is the answer. So the answer starts here. I can look backward and see our covered wagon drawn up by the door of the cabin in the early light of that May morning long ago, can feel again the sweet fresh breath of the untrodden prairie, and recall for a moment the proud confidence of our youth. So this right here is going to be the description or imagery in the passage. And so I'm going to lock that in. And now I'm going to show you kind of why this is the imagery and why something else isn't. So let's look at the opening sentences of paragraph 5. It says, yet common sense suggests that the regions which are no longer entirely self-supporting cannot rely indefinitely upon government aid. Okay, just kind of business, right? Just information. So the problem remains, more information. Some of our neighbors with small children, now that's not description. Yes, that's a detail, but that's not description. Fearing the effects upon their health, no description, no imagery here, have left temporarily until it rains. Still, no description, no detail. Others have left permanently, thinking doubtless that nothing could be worse. So we don't see any imagery, any description. But look at this. I can look backward and see our covered wagon drawn up by the door of the cabin in the early light of the May morning. I mean, all of that is very beautiful language, and we can start to see what a May morning might look like, and the wagon covered. And then look at this sweet, fresh breath. So we can sense that, we can experience that, and recall for a moment the proud confidence of our youth. And then he says, but when I try to see the wagon or the Model T truck headed in the opposite direction, away from our home and all of our cherished hopes. So there's these details that we can see, this truck driving away from the house, the Model T truck. So that's the description that we want to see. And so we're going to lock this in. And you might ask, well, what about that last sentence? Perhaps it is only because the dust is too dense and blinding. That's a really nice line, but that's not going to be the imagery or the description that we're looking for, that the dust is dense and blinding. I mean, it is a good image for sure. I mean, it's definitely good details, but it's not something that we can see. I don't know if I can see the dust is too dense and blinding, all right? But I can see that Model T truck heading away from that home, and I can see that wagon covered. So this is going to be our description here, or our imagery.